Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. How are we all? Hope we're all okay. Thank you, Leslie and Lucy, for commenting on the background. That was all thanks to hubby upstairs working in the office. That was his hard work at the background. So I hope we are well. And for those of you who joined us the other week when we did the live feed on the new moon altar, you will recognize this. This is what we set up. This is what we did, what we introduced. So this is what we're going to look at after we've done the connections of clear quartz. So today we were connecting, we were carrying, and then tonight we're taking the clear quartz off to bed to sleep. So for those of you who are doing the weekly journey, or whether you came in and are working with clear quartz, if you lovely people just want to start typing up how you felt today connecting and carrying clear quartz. Obviously this is a two-part connection because I'm not going to come on live in the middle of the night to ask how you're feeling sleeping with clear quartz. So tomorrow night, before we introduce Karen, our first special guest to Voxbox, we will go through again. We'll start with how you felt sleeping with the clear quartz tonight, and then we will look into how you felt connecting and carrying with it tomorrow. Tomorrow. So there are means and ways of getting around. No, I've not seen that article, but that's the Sun. I don't read any newspapers, and I don't watch any news. I can't deal with stuff like that. Today, I went to the shop again, second time since been in lockdown, and I briefly looked at the front page of the headlines of the newspapers and just walked away and got rid of all of that. So yes. So anybody, if you're all busy, just typing your connections and how you felt carrying clear quartz with you this morning, well, and today. So yeah, and to be fair, I think this would perhaps be the first Beltane for a very, very long time that we've not been able to get together to celebrate this festival. So yes. Leslie, I had a lovely peaceful connection, saw what looked like a dawn sky, again saw a face. I was in nature. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So that is nice. So yeah, this face is coming to you. It's coming to you. So It was tricky today, as Jack has been. Oh, bless him. Okay, that's fine. And don't feel worried to anyone if it's a short connection. If it's a short connection, the keeper of the spirit will know in the crystal, and they will just give you a quick summary, a quick burst. So don't worry about that. But I'm sending lots of healing to your son Jack for that. So yeah, the headaches, sign of ascension, and especially if we're connecting with clear quartz, that we're going up a level, we're clearing, and we're coming out of that mold. We're coming out of our 3D, and we could be ascending there, Lucy. What was the colours? White and green. Okay, so yeah, so the green, white. So again, you're still working in the spiritual chakras, in the spiritual colours. Okay, so Sarah. Oh, bless. Yeah, it might be. It might have gone out your head because it shifted. But if you're competent with the connecting and the carrying, which is perhaps what it's doing, it's perhaps saying like, oh, you know, you could perhaps be settled into that scale. So just sleep with it tonight. Just take it to bed now. It's perhaps saying like, look, you've done this. You know what I'm all about in the connections. You know what I'm all about carrying. So just get on to the next phase. Just sleep with me. So just try that one, Sarah. I mean, sometimes when we get through these and we start doing them upon week, you might find that there is a crystal that is absolutely your energy. And as soon as you connect on the first day, you don't want to put it down, and you end up carrying it around with you. And then you end up taking it bed with you. And that's on the first day. Go with that flow. This is your connection. This is your individual thing. So go with what you feel like. But I'll definitely say, even though you didn't do the connection and carry it around, go to bed with it tonight. Okay, find a nice big pointy cluster and have it between you and hubby. Okay, Carolyn, guided to place on solar plexus, crown open. So a healing on chakra, ending with a clean, bright chakra spinning. Area ached during this. Emotions were fine today. Good. I'm glad your emotions are fine. And yesterday you went on a bit of a nice journey. So today it's nice that you've gone into your solar plexus. You've gone into a physical chakra and cleared that. So that is nice. That's your power center. So a nice boost for your emotions. So nice one, Carolyn. Thank you very much for that, sweetheart. Okay, and connection. Taken to a snowy owl in tree, moonlit sky, and again snowing. Then a lot of white light and a noise jolted me out of connection. Felt a bit cranky this AM, but more peaceful after being out in nature, grounded in the garden. Beautiful. And snowy owls. For me, when I did the brief short talks about the Birds of Prey workshop that I do and the connections there, I connected scholarsight with snowy owl. And for me, snowy owl is the messengers from those up above. Okay, they're an Arctic bird, so they control the northern hemisphere. So they're up here. And scholarsight for me is the divine gateway. So snowy owl will enable you to have a real strong connection to that divine gateway and bringing down that message, knowledge, anything at all. And for it to be sitting in a tree, obviously when I delved into the divine gateway, we need that two-way clearing. We need to connect to the divine gateway, bring down that information, but sending it down to the earth star below our feet, connected to Mother Earth. So the fact that the snowy owl was in the tree, you've got that symbol of the highest, the divine gateway, which is the highest chakra. Then you've got the tree, which the roots go under. So you've got the earth star connection there. So that complete balance of going through. So absolutely amazing. Snowing, again, message. All these little snows, like feathers coming down. Okay, so there's snowing. There's downloads coming here. There's things for you to link in with, things for you to get more knowledge on. We all feel a bit cranky in the morning, sweetheart. Don't worry about that. But yeah, being in nature, grounding. So well done, Anne. Perfect. Today I cheated. I don't know how you can cheat, but I'm intrigued. I connected to my Super 7. Oh, God. Okay. All right. Okay. And I'm feeling really energized and positive. Right. Got really creative with my resin and crystals. Made some new healing and energy pieces. Just really balanced and at peace, and all again purple and pink. Yep. So again, you've not cheated, you've advanced. And same with Sarah, the fact that she didn't, it wasn't in her mind to connect and to carry today. That just means that you're there. You've got it. And I'm not saying that those who have connected and carried today haven't got it. You have. There's just a little bit more for you lot to be shown and to see. Your connections are so strong and so amazing. I'm loving it. But yeah, Super 7. I mean, the lipidocrosite and the gothite and the cocaxonite in that. Buzzing. So not surprising you're feeling energized and positive. So yeah, but perfect. Go with that. If you felt like you needed to go for something else, that's fine. I don't call that cheating. I call that following your intuition, following what you need to do. So that is absolutely great. Well done for that, Calvin. I woke and went with purpose as I had been before the last 2 weeks. I had clear blue skies and greens of fresh new leaf growth. As for nature, then went for a walk with dog and indeed had clear blue skies and green trees. Beautiful. So yeah, that budding, that we're just starting to open up. And at this moment with clear quartz, we've been connecting with it since Monday. This is the 5th day now connecting with it. Our last day tomorrow. So now we are just realizing that potential. We are that bud. We are that new growth of leaves. And then we can expand and come open. So a perfect connection there for you, Charlotte. Thank you so much. Okay, is there any more at all? Okay, I'm having a bit of a laid back approach to this. I am slouched at the side of the table here so you guys can see me as well as you can see this table. Not much has changed on this table apart from your view has changed. When we did the new moon altar, you was this way. So north was here. So you were there. You are now at the east. We've got aquamarine here, and so you're facing east. So we've still got the things on here. And this is what we like to do. We like to look at this altar and see what's been done, what's been to completion, what's fruitioned on this altar that we might now need to move up. So even if you're not going to do a Beltane altar, but you've got your new moon altar. Just we can take a look and see what has completed for us. You know, we're now no longer in the new moon. We're starting to wax. We're starting to get into the full moon. So while the moon is waxing, we too are altering. And if we've had crystals and our intentions on our altar, we might now need to start removing some of those crystals because they've fulfilled their purpose and replace them with others. But today we're going to be looking at Beltane from last night to this morning, the Fire Pagan Festival. But really, like most things now, we don't really do a one-day celebration. We tend to make the most of the things. So I like to do the weekend. So for me, it's never too late to do a Beltane altar. And it can even go up to the 5th of May in some parts. And especially for us during the week, if it fell in the week, we certainly wouldn't be doing an altar until the weekend when we had time to do that, because working full time doesn't give us much time in the week to do things like that. So don't ever feel that, oh God, I've missed that. You can always catch up. You can always honor it at the weekend. So the weekend before or the weekend after, whenever you've got the time to do that. As it so happens, it's a Friday. So I thought it'd be a nice time to look at the altar and bring in some Beltane goodness. And I'm opening that up to you guys. You know, really think on Beltane, the Fire Festival, the Festival of Fertility. Back in the day, in the little villages, in the communities, each one would have a fire. But when it came to Beltane, they would all dampen their fires and they would create a communal fire, or they would have two. If they had two fires, people would walk between the two to promote fertility or to say their intentions, their purposes. They'd perhaps walk their farm animals through, their goats, their cattle, believed to protect them from parasites, but also to give them the fertility so they can rear young and keep the family going. So if they didn't have the two bonfires, they'd just have the one, and people would be encouraged to jump over the bonfire, and couples as well. It's a nice time for hand fasting or for sealing a pact between two people. If they want to commit for each other, they would jump over the bonfire to ceremonize that and to put that deed into practice. And whatever they wanted to do, there was a lot of mead drinking. It is the festival where the young green man entwines with the goddess. So it is about love, it is about fertility. And then at the end of that festival, at the end of their ceremony, each person would take a piece of the fire back home with them and light their own fires at home. Again, bringing in any of their own personal intentions, what Beltane signified for them. So for us, just have a little think. Think about the crystals, think about the colours, and just comment, just come up with what you feel like you would like to bring to this altar. And there is nothing wrong. There is nothing right. Okay, this is down to what you feel represents for you and what Beltane is for you. So either think of a word, if you can't think of a crystal, think of a color. And in the meantime, I'm going to get this altar broken down a bit, so then we can build it up. Don't ever feel that you have to leave an altar for the whole duration of something. This is the new moon altar, which we're going to bring to full light at the full moon. So we've got our bowls still here with our intentions, our visions, and our emotions. But always look at an altar and always see if there's some more improvement, if there is something that can be changed, and make that change. If you're looking at your altar and going, that piece of labradorite, I feel it's done its course, I feel I need to take that down and put something else in its place, do that. So I'm going to remove these bowls because I want us to get a little bit more of a look at this altar, and then we'll bring them back in. So the first thing that I would do is I would give it a little bit more of an energy cleanse. So it's still working. You're not going to undo anything. You're just allowing the altar to adapt to the change that's happening. So you're just stirring it a bit. And for me, again, you can use the sage. So we can smudge. So before we do anything, just give the altar a nice little cleanse. Just let it know that you're now going to incorporate some new energy into it. So it's going to make that change more calm, more gentle, and easier for it to merge back in to one. So we can do that. If we don't have any sage, again, we can use incense. So even if you've got incense sticks, and really it doesn't matter what the fragrance is, it's your intention. Okay, so if you've not got the sage, you can light your incense sticks. And we always get our supply from Molly at Earth and Heaven in Bideford. I love going there and coming away with a load of incense. So again, you can just visualize that as bringing in a new energy into your altar. So that is another way. Sound. So even if we've got tincture bells, because if we've got kids and we might not feel like we want to be burning smoke, we can use sound as well. So okay. And also remember, we're not just cleansing this, we're cleansing ourselves as well. So either the sage or the incense, it's going to influence our energy as well as this altar and the sound. Okay. So just like before, if you've brought in the directions are there, and I've got the crystal still representing those directions. So, and if this is your first time of setting up an altar, this is something that you can do or something you don't have to do. Again, I'm just going to go through the things that we can bring in, but again, it's down to you what you want to leave out. Take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't resonate with you. So with Beltane, we've got fire. It's the fire festival. So I want to light my oil burner because I also like to work with fragrance. I want to like to work with the scent. So rose would be a nice one to use. Frankincense, ylang ylang, jasmine, vanilla. But again, anything at all that you feel is, oh, that smells lovely, or yes, that's going to give me a Beltane fragrance. That smells Beltane to me. Use that. I think, yeah, Polet is on here. So, you know, I'm sure she would come up and give some other ideas of senses to use. Okay. So just top up my oil burner. And the three that I'm going to be using is frankincense. I'm going to use the frankincense. I'm going to use rose. I'm not a rose kind of guy. It's just there because for altar purposes, really. And ylang ylang. But you don't have to use all three. You don't have to use all the things that are listed. Just have a smell and see what you're drawn to and what you would like to use. You can just use rose. And just a couple of drops of each. So if you're someone who is more scented than you are with crystals, you can use that in your altar as well as. Now, again, safety warning. You'll see I set up my oil burner first. So I put the water in first, then I put the oils in first before I lit the candle. Okay. The essential oils are really flammable. So there's no hazards. Because if you had the candle lit first and then you were tipping the oils in, if you overflowed and part of the oil caught the flame, you could have a little fire on your hands, and it can be quite dramatic. I had one happen to me a fair few years ago. I don't know what happened, but I set it all up and it was burning, and then when I turned back round, I had a mini Olympic torch going on. The top was on fire, and even though they're not true oils, they're not oils, but they do have that same kind of consistency. It was a bit like a chip pan fire. So to begin with, it was kind of like, oh gosh, I've got a fire. And then when I realized how serious it was, I actually thought I was going to have to call the fire brigade, but I just put a damp cloth over it and smothered the flames. So we've got a bit of smell coming to the altar, and I'm going to light 2 extra candles to put either side. You could have green candles, green to resemble the fertility. And for me, I like to have the 2 candles because I like the thought of walking through the bonfire rather than jumping over one. So that's what that signifies for me, is we've got those 2 there. And then I've got my directions. So I will light my spirit candle. So that's nicely lit. And I've still got my cards for the new moon. I've still got everything else on here. So let's just have a scroll up to see if there's any questions at all. Okay, so Sarah, carnelian and sunstone. Yes, I am with you there. And I'm glad you've mentioned carnelian there, because I have carnelian here representing the south, representing the fire direction. Don't overcomplicate your crystals. Don't give them too much to do. So even though I've got carnelian on the altar, this is my fire, this is my self. So I won't say, oh no, we don't need carnelian because I've already got carnelian on here. This isn't for Beltane. This is my direction of self and the element of fire. So we would put some more carnelian on the altar. So if I take these pieces off. Okay. And then carnelian. Now, I'm using big pieces here, but that's only so you guys can see this at home. But please, if you only got tumbles, they will do the trick. Okay, and just pile them up. You might see, I think we might have a burglar. I think we've got a cat. I'm blocking the back door here, so it'll need to find another route to come in. So Sarah, and let's get rid of the Fool's card. So carnelian, sunstone, and we're not building a grid. We're just placing these crystals where we want to put them. Don't follow my lead. Go with your flow. Go with what you feel like you want to do. I'll even remove the cards as well. So Ruby, of course you'll be wanting Ruby, and absolutely. So Ruby on there. Okay. So we've got Ruby on there for Anne. Oh, a tiger's eye wand. Oh, bless her. Yes, most definitely we'll have some tiger's eye there. So thank you for your suggestion of tiger's eye. So we've got carnelian, which can represent that fire, that Beltane fire. The sunstone for the energy. The ruby for that passion. And tiger's eye, which we can have for the abundance to make us fertile. And don't worry if you're worried about setting up a Beltane grid and for it to be resembling fertility. Again, it doesn't mean, well, it can mean fertility as in childbearing, but also the fertility of the earth, or for us to be grateful and receive things, seeing things into fruition. So our goals, our dreams, yeah, we can plant those seeds and see a dream come to full blossom. So we don't always have to think that, oh God, I don't want to get pregnant. Doesn't mean that, okay? Unless you want it to. So malachite and black tourmaline, Carolyn, absolutely. Let's ground those energies in. So we've got some malachite slices that will place onto the altar. Okay. We've got the tiger's eye there that Lily suggested. Don't know what happened to my big ruby, but I've got some smaller ruby record keepers. So, and then tourmaline. Absolutely. The big chunker. Okay. Also, we've got the malachite again, which we can do. And then emerald, which we don't have, but we have got beryl, which is what emerald is from. Emerald is part of the beryl family. So I'll have beryl on there as well for that one, Charlotte. Thank you very much. Any other? Oh, hello, Lauren. I'm new to altars. What's the difference between a grid and an altar? So a grid, we still need to do our gridding workshop. We still need to get that sussed out. So a grid is where we put our intentions into something, but then we place them in a particular pattern. So we tend to have a stone in the center, which can either represent us or is a generator that's going to manifest those energies of that grid. And then we'll be having a selection of stones building up out around from that center, quite symmetrical in patterns and similar in the stones and the shapes of the stones. You want to get that balance. You want to get that symmetrical patterning. And we tend to follow a pattern on a board or on a bit of paper. So either the Flower of Life grid, the Dharma wheel, Metrodon cube, anything at all, we could do that. Or we can, on a blank canvas, and build up a grid, but generally we work in the middle and go round and out. Whereas an altar is, if you think of a mantelpiece, you can't really do a grid on a mantelpiece because it goes long ways. So it's about doing that garland, bringing in things that we want to bring in, and we can use multiples of stones. We can use anything at all. Now it's quite interlinked that even with some grids, people can use feathers, flowers, shells, other things, and incorporate that into a grid. Whereas I like to just stick with crystals for a grid, but with an altar, incorporate other things. So you can see I'm not doing any grids with this at all. I'm just line it along and put things around how I feel they need to go, which is what you're going to do as well. If you're doing an altar, you're not following any rules. There is no wrong or right in gridding or in altars. As long as you're following your intuition and putting your intention into this, then you can't go wrong. It's your belief, and it's you do it how you wish to do this. Okay, hope that sums that up for you. Okay, so anything at all? Any other questions? Or citrine? Absolutely. Okay, now sometimes it's nice to balance this out with the oranges, but also bring in quite a few greens as well, just because we don't want to get this too confused with the next Sabbath, which is the summer solstice, because that is really your yellows, your reds, your oranges. So this is that we're breaking away from spring equinox. So we're keeping the greens there for the spring equinox and for Beltane, and then we're bringing in the oranges and the yellows for the fire for Beltane, but also getting us ready for the summer solstice. So citrine, absolutely. Keep that positive energy going. So I have put some tumbles of natural citrine down. Then I will put my point down there as well, so you lot can see a little bit more. So, okay. Just have a quick guzzle of my drink. Rose quartz as well, you said. So for that fertility. So let's put that on there. We've got rose quartz building up there. Is there any particular wood that is good for the bonfire? I normally burn apple, bay, and oak, but are there any that are more symbolic? Rowan. Rowan is a very good. It's my my Celtic tree year. I was born under the tree of Rowan. So Rowan is good. Alder, ash, birch, hawthorn, oak, which is what you've already mentioned, holly, hazel, willow. But again, yeah, if that's what you've got near you, Carolyn, and that's, yeah, do what feels right for you and bring that in. I like apple. For me, the apple tree is something that we thrive on getting fruition because we eat that fruit. So for me, I think an apple tree would be nicely to be blessed this time of year, because we do want a good crop of apples to carry us through, to keep us going. And bay as well, because bay is very good for the protection, although rowan is a very good tree for protection. Green amber came to mind. I don't have any green amber, Nancy. Would just the normal orange amber do? Lauren, that's great. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Lauren. I'm glad that made that. So ruby in zoisite. Absolutely. So we've got ruby in zoisite. So ruby for me, again, like the ruby on its own, it's that passion, that love. Can represent the element of fire, But then we've got that forest of the suicide. That grounding, earthy nature colours. So yeah, let's put that in on the altar. All white howlite. We have plenty of tumbles of white howlite. I'll just put them down here, so hopefully people can see. And just like, was it you, Carolyn, who mentioned the trees? So again, if we've got any of those trees, we can add them. It was Amanda. Sorry, Amanda. So again, I'm going to add my rowan onto here, onto the altar to signify the tree. There's a beautiful rowan tree in our next door neighbour's garden, and it is blossoming. It's got flowers on, and I really wanted to jump over the fence and cut a couple to put onto here. I did not, but you know, we can bring in any hawthorn blossom, apple blossom, anything at all that we feel is symbolic for Beltane. And you can look online and see what is generalized as symbolic, but again, just look at yours. If you want to make it personal, just do with what's in your garden and have a feel of what's growing in your own garden, and just put them to the altar. Okay, it's just a personal touch. It doesn't have to be by the book. I refuse to play by the book. I refuse to play by the rules. Moss agate, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've got some gorgeous top grade moss agate cabs from Indonesia. Absolutely stunning. So yeah, a nice one to have on your altar to represent the goddess, as well as making sure that there is fertile land on Mother Earth. I like to put moss agate and tree agate in plant pots. Really nice to keep the fertile soil and to give in that nurture, that nature loving. So I do have dendritic agate, which is similar to tree agate. So I'm going to place 2 hearts on the altar. For the Beltane, like I said, I don't really do things in a day. I like to keep it in fruition. So if I'm setting this up today, I will leave it there until Sunday, Monday. But like you'll see with this altar, by just doing one altar, every time you come up to it to honor another Sabbath or a new moon or full moon, you'll find that you're only taking bits away to add more bits to it. And so you might have a piece on that altar to represent Beltane throughout the rest of the year. I don't completely take down an altar to build up another one. So when we come to do the full moon altar next Thursday, that's when we're going to burn our intuitions and our intentions and what we put into the bowls on the new moon. You'll see that I will only take a bit away and then add some more on. So that energy is always there. There's always something there. And at the end of the year, you can look at the altar and you can see those changes. You can see what that stone represented. It wouldn't be, oh, there's carnelian on there for courage. It's, oh, that was for when we did the Beltane altar. And that's when I was in that frame of mind. But then you'll see with what the crystals you've got on there, how your frame of mind has changed, where you've made your improvements. So, yeah, that's what I like to do with an altar, which is also different to a grid. A grid tends to be just for that purpose, and then you take it down. Whereas for the altar, it's kind of like at the end of the year, you'll get a timeline. You'll get to see what you started the year with, and then what you've ended up with doing, and seeing those changes and those alterations. So, yeah, majority, if you just did a Beltane altar, I would, yeah, come Monday, we will break that down. But if you're doing a yearly altar, take what doesn't resonate, keep there what is still resonating with you. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I think apple is a lovely tree for Beltane. Really do us good. We benefit from that tree. It's not like the oak tree. I mean, the oak tree is a wise master tree. I said the other day, you've got clear quartz, which is the master of the crystals, and the oak is the master of the trees in the UK heritage, at least. But they produce acorns, which don't do much for us. They do a lot for squirrels, and you know, the whole idea that the squirrels forget where they bury their seeds is the reason why we have such amazing woodlands around here, because in a way they bury their stash to keep them going over winter, but they forget where they buried that stash, and in turn they've become gardeners and have planted oak trees. So yeah, the only thing is when we're bringing flowers, when we're bringing things in from the outside world, please leave an abundance out there for the pollinators. Please make sure that there's enough out in nature for those to feed on and for those to rely on. I'd hate for people to be cutting down a bush just for a Beltane altar. Just take little snips. If you want to go really pagan, you should always ask the tree, the shrub, the bush, if you may take a cutting. And it's always nice to exchange a bit of energy there. Normally when I take a snippet, I'll just spit on my finger and then rub it where I've done the cutting. So we're exchanging energy. Some people might leave a ribbon tied to the trunk where they took a snippet. Someone might leave a crystal there. Beautiful. Yes, Sarah. And it is. And it's really nice, and really encourage the kids to do this. Okay. It's like an advent calendar, but for 12 months. Okay. Where you can honor each moon, honor each new moon, and honor the 8 pagan Sabbats. Or any, you know, you can even bring in for birthdays, for people's birthdays. You can bring in something and allow them to bring something onto the altar. It might be their favorite birthday card, or it just might be something that they feel appropriate to place on that for their birthday. So it is nice to do. It is lovely. Absolutely, Charlotte. Yes, I agree with that one. The rule of thumb: 1/3 forage, 2/3 leave behind. Yes, absolutely. We've got to make sure that there is enough bounty out there for the animals, for the wildlife, because us bringing in the flowers, they're going to die. So they're not really going to retain their purpose in life. So, which is why we always ask, may I take this flower to represent the Beltane altar, or for this altar, or whatever your purpose is. Then they know the sacrifice that flower is given. So it's nice. It's a nice way to work with nature. So we have altars going up. I would like to bring in some fossilized wood. For me, this honors the green man. Okay. So there are quite a few gods that we can honor. But for me, I like Pan. Pan for me is the god for me to honor with Beltane. But you can have the great horned one. You can have Cupid, Eros, anyone at all. So I want to put this quite near the center. I'm going to put the candle at the back, but if you want it at the front, you're more than welcome to. And then for the goddess, okay, I'm going to bring in some green fluorite, that nice color green. So we can bring this to it. I'm still keeping, this was here to symbolize the new moon. Okay, and it was the new moon in spring. So we had that green moonstone there. And I'm keeping that there because we're still dealing with the spring colors. We're still dealing with fertility, so moonstone's good for that. But the green, the heart color, the nice, more gentle, more softer, loving energy. You can add some garnet. So garnet there to heighten up that passion. And again, we've got that fire element. I should have removed them. I'm so sorry. I do forget that some people might not be into skulls. So, yes. But again, other green things. So green opal, that freshness, new beginnings, new tides. People who are again hand-fasted, jumping over that bonfire. We could have jade, that sign of abundance. We can put a few pieces of jade on. Again, I'm going all out, giving you options. For you, it's down to whittling these down to just what you want. As like Sarah, you might have a nice windowsill, but you don't want to fill out the whole windowsill with just one meaning. You want to still keep that energy of the others. So, you know, this will look huge and overflowing and, you know, a little bit too much. That's just because I'm just giving you guys out there options. Okay. You've mentioned black tourmaline. Okay. And if you haven't got jade, we can use green aventurine. Okay. Or use them both. Bloodstone, yes, Carolyn, absolutely. Bloodstone would be nice, carrying that green and the red. So we had ruby in Zoic by Sarah, the green and the red. Bloodstone, absolutely. Ruby in Fuchsite. Watermelon tourmaline, that young love, that young. So bloodstone, that green chalcedony with the red jasper. So place some of them and some ruby in Fuchsite. Okay, and if we haven't got the crystals, but we have got a lot of oracle decks, tarot decks, have a look through those cards, see what jumps out at you to also decorate the altar. Okay, so I went through some of mine. Okay, and we do have a card for Beltane, honoring the god and the goddess. So we can put that there. We have the 3 magic trees, the oak, ash, and thorn. So again, we can do that. You don't perhaps want to do all of this, just a one or other, or keep down to a few. And the tree in spring. We are still in spring. We're halfway through. We're mid-spring. We're going to come there. So I always have Fox on the altar. He's my spirit. Well, she's my spirit animal. The vixen is the energy I work with quite a lot. She always comes to me in most things. So that's why I have the fox skull on here. So I'm offering a piece of me onto the altar, and in return, the energy is going to flow through the spirit animal and give me that energy. So, and I'll also keep the hair on here because it was part of our moon grid. So hair will be there because we always relate to hair as being part of the moon. But some other animals, okay, the bee. And what I was stipulating before, making sure we have enough out there for our pollinators. while we bring flowers, foliage inside. Okay. We have the goat, or we can also have cattle. Those who provide us a living, a purpose. So the farmers and those back in the days, you know, really hoping for a healthy stock, a healthy herd, a healthy season with the calves, with the kids. So they would be walked through the two fires as well, as a sign of protection. Okay. We can have frog. So at the moment, our ponds, streams will be thriving with tadpoles. And there should even be halfway through that transformation. So for us, we can either have frog on the altar as a cycle, a circle, or we can have it to bring in transformation. If we need to shift, if we need to move on, frog is always welcome on an altar. Obviously, rabbit. Prophetic breeders. Oh, they're at it like rabbits. So again, the sign of fertility, honouring the goddess, making sure that our soils, you know, back in the time when we were growing our own, tending to the land, we needed a fertile soil. We needed a fertile land. We needed to survive. That was our way of surviving. They didn't have Tesco's. They didn't have online Asda. What the land provided them is what was going to keep them going, and especially over the colder months. So it's really important that they, you know, weren't just blessing themselves with fertility, but blessing their land with fertility. Okay. Just have another drink. So Sarah, do you need to have north, south, east and west on every altar? I know we did it for the new moon, so just wondering if we should always have that. I do. I always have. I've still got my wood to resemble north. Smoky for east. So yeah, them two need to be the other way around. So yeah, so north, east, south and west. I do have that. That's entirely up to you. I'll just do that to bring in a little bit extra. We had that for our wedding. We brought in the directions and each person brought in an element to honor that direction. So it's something our household acknowledges and respects, but it's down to you. It's really down to you. If you're doing a long altar, if it's not on a square, it might be a little bit tricky, although it won't be. You'll just be doing an oblong. But no, that is something that's down. That's why I didn't bring any ceremony into honouring the four directions this time. I will be on... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Sorry. We will be honouring the four corners again for the full moon, just to catch people up in case they weren't here for the new moon. So yeah, if I emphasize on it and if I keep doing it, people will feel they don't have to do it. Whereas if they're there and we don't take notice of them, it will give people that relax of, oh, I didn't mention the directions, therefore I won't need the directions. But if you started with the directions, then keep them going throughout the year. That is fine. But yeah, it's not a biggie. It's not fundamental. Again, this is down to what you wish to do. Okay, have a family discussion. What do the kids want to do? Do you want to do earth, air, fire, and water? And so then we also have swan, the symbol of love, grace, calmness. So we can have this. Okay. We can have dove, the symbol of peace. So there are the things that we can bring in for a Beltane altar. Yeah. But don't forget, the flowers, the colours. So the greens, the spring colours, the greens, the pinks. And then we've also got that start of the fire. We're in the middle of spring. Summer solstice is round the corner. We're just entering May. June the 21st will be summer solstice. So we need to bring in that warmthness. So bring in your oranges, bring in your yellows, but bring the balance. Because don't forget, we're going to be layering on those oranges, reds, yellows, golds in the summer solstice. So we still need that balance of the green fertile with the warm sun. Fertile soil, warm sun, a bit of rain, you've got yourself a good condition to grow some fruit and veg. But any other questions at all? Anything else? It's literally altars are all about bringing you and what these things mean to you. And again, if you're going to do this, and I know some people just do it from last night to this morning, or just for today. I like to give everything 3 days. I like to give everything a nice 3-day celebration. So if you feel like you want to do this, I would love to see some pictures. But again, I will be bringing in, I've still got the sphere for the new moon, and I'll still bring in the bowls, which have our vision intentions and our emotional intentions into those. So they will be here again. And then next Thursday, we'll look at the full moon and we'll start adjusting this again. So when you look at this, this will be broken down a bit. I'll simplify it for our Beltane. And then on the full moon, you'll see that I've still got remnants of the new moon and remnants of the Beltane. And then again, we'll bring in some more adjustments for the full moon. Okay. I like the 3-day rule. I mean, sometimes how long things take to do, you think, oh, it's over and done with. So give it enough time for things to go. Oh, I love you lending your ears to me, Leslie. That is a really lovely thing to say. Thank you so much. But yeah, any other help, any advice, anything at all? Yeah, crystal bowls. Yeah, I do know, but they are pricey. In our stock, we have a copper bowl. We have a black moonstone bowl. We have a rose quartz bowl. And we have a cobra jasper bowl. So, yeah, it's... they can be quite pricey. And then... I mean, these are my personal bowls. So I do go for things bigger for when we do our altars and things like that. But our other bowls, they're a little bit more smaller size. Yeah, I will have a look for you, Charlotte. I'll keep you in mind when we're looking around, but they're the only bowls that we've got for sale: Black Moonstone, Rose Quartz, Cobra Jasper or Polychrome Jasper, and the Copper Bowl. So yes, start doing your altars, start doing that, and don't forget to join us tomorrow night. At 5 o'clock, we will be looking back into the clear quartz. So that will be tomorrow's connection and carry, but then tonight's sleepover. So come back at 5 for that. And then we will look into introducing our first guest onto Roxbox. They're lovely Karen from the Birds of Prey Centre. So think of your questions. Get your questions thinking for the lovely Karen. Again, she does walk a spiritual path, hence why she was so up for having us to go there to do our Birds of Prey Crystal Connection workshop. So think of anything spiritual to ask her. Think of anything about the raptors, anything about the birds to pick her brains with. Okay, I've got my questions up and running. I'm looking forward to having her in the hot seat, in the rock seat. I wonder if we can get a seat made out of crystals. That'd be nice. So she'll be in the rock seat, coming in after we've done the connections. That should hopefully give Karen and Adam some time to come together and to make sure there is no technical issues. So by the time we've done our connections and added a quick chat and brought in the calming energies, we will start with her shortly after that. So please come and say thank you and to welcome her and to ask her anything raptor related at all. Okay, so hopefully this was an okay video for you guys to set your own altars and to get you guys going. But any other questions at all, let me know. It's something I'm going to keep doing with the live feed. So through watching these, you'll just get the hang of it. And literally for doing it for so long with us, it just comes second hat. You just, yeah. You know what to put in. You know what you want to do. As soon as you stop listening to the other voices and putting your doubts of, oh God, such and such, put that in their altar. Should I do that? No. That was such and such, and that was theirs. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I'll let the cat in now. But happy Beltane blessings. May the fire